Welcome to the Working Mom Rebellion podcast, where rage, rest, and rise all exist in the same breath. I'm your host, Alexis Starks. I'm a mom of two, a leader, builder, boundary setter, and unapologetically ambitious woman. This is the podcast for working moms who are done shrinking, done apologizing, and done pretending that we don't carry the weight of it all. Here we talk about the messy, powerful truth of building a career with babies, toddlers, and sometimes kids in the next room. This is real talk, real strategy, and real rebellion. Let's burn the old blueprint and build something better together. You don't owe anyone your availability. Not your boss, not your team, not your inbox, not even your calendar. Being available 24/7 is not a personality trait, it's a boundary problem. And if you've been measuring your worth by how quickly you respond to emails or Slack messages, or how often you say yes to every little question or project, or how little you ask for space or time or need anything, this episode is your wake up call, because accessibility is not your job, especially if you're the one carrying everything. All right. A few years ago, let's get into this. I remember I was replying to Slack messages on my phone from the waiting room at my doctor's office. I remember so many times where I was either at my own OB or midwife appointments and replying to Slack messages, and checking my email on my phone as if I couldn't step away from my laptop for, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, however long the appointment was, and which is insane. Like, I'm sorry, I can't respond to a Slack message for an hour, and is anyone gonna die? Is the world gonna blow up? No, of course not. I remember taking my son, my daughter, and my kids to pediatrician appointments, and I'd be, sitting and on my phone, someone would Slack me, and I'd whip out my phone and respond back quickly, and it's just insane. Like, I didn't want anyone to think that I wasn't committed or I wasn't capable of managing my work just because I now had a kid or was going to become a mom when I was pregnant, right? I didn't want to seem less reliable. So I remember checking emails, responding to emails. I remember even responding to emails in the middle of dinner time and bedtime and winding down. If someone slacked me, I'd quickly hop on. I remember telling myself that I'm still showing up. I'm still fully capable of doing everything I was. But what was I actually doing? I was abandoning myself. No one asked me to reply immediately. I chose to be available because I'd been conditioned to believe that if I wasn't available, I wasn't valuable. And therefore, I was easily replaceable. That if I didn't respond to an email or Slack within a few minutes, or didn't quickly ping someone back, or my boss, even my boss, that I was no longer valuable. Like, I chose to be available. I'd been conditioned to think that. And I remember how many times I'd ignored my own limits and boundaries that I was trying to set just to maintain that illusion of reliability and value in who I was as still being a worker. So let me tell you something, though. I wish I had known earlier. It's truth bomb time, you guys. Availability is not a job qualification. It is not your responsibility to respond to everything immediately. And it's not a requirement of leadership to be always on. And it is definitely not your job to be accessible at the expense of your peace, your family, or your nervous system. Being available 24/7 doesn't make you dependable. It makes you depleted. Just because you responded to something within 30 seconds after someone slacked you, that's depleting. That's taking away your energy, especially if you're in the middle of something more important. Was that Slack message more important than me being at my doctor's appointment? No. Is it more important than being at the pediatrician's office and just waiting, and I could have been playing with my baby while she was in her car seat? I take her out. Like, none of those emails or Slacks are more important even than just the peace of mind of taking an hour away to step away from my laptop to take care of something personal. That's more important. And when your energy is always open to everyone else, you have no space left for your own growth, strategy, or rest, which means you're not leading, you're reacting. We confused fast replies with professionalism. But leadership isn't about speed, it's about discernment. Just because someone wants something now doesn't mean it's urgent. Just because you can respond doesn't mean that you should. Sustainable leadership means knowing what deserves your energy and when. And this might even mean that you looked at your phone. Maybe you look at your phone and you see the Slack message and think, I'll respond later when I get back in front of my laptop. And that's exactly a perfect thing to do. I see a message coming in. Maybe it's my boss, maybe it's a colleague, a coworker, and they Slack me something or email. And I think to myself, is this so important that I need to respond right now? Or can it wait an hour? 99.9% of the time, it can wait an hour. And that's discernment. That's choosing to respond when it fits you and your schedule. And everyone else will survive for an hour. So here's the bigger truth. We've been raised and conditioned in a system that measures women, especially moms, by our availability to others, our responsiveness, and our helpfulness, or our willingness to stay late, to check in, to cover the gaps of other people, to pick up work, to say, hey, Alexa, can you pick this up? Can you do this? I think this project is something that you could take on, or you could help with this. That's not a job description, though. That's unpaid labor. That's not part of your job. You don't have to be extremely overly responsive. You don't have to be available to everybody. The problem is when you're always available, you train people not to respect your time. Let me frame that again. Let me say that again. The problem is when you're always available, you train people not to respect your time. That means when you set boundaries to say, oh, I'm with my kids after 4 p.m., but yet you're responding to Slack messages at 4:30 or responding to an email at 5 o'clock, no one's going to respect the boundaries that you set because clearly they're arbitrary boundaries. You don't respond to them. You don't respect your own boundaries you set. So why would anybody else? When you're always available, you're training people not to respect your time. So when you make yourself endlessly accessible, your needs, your boundaries become invisible. Your boundaries become blurry and your energy is exhausted and depleted. And you're the one burning out, trying to do everything, trying to juggle your kids or juggle an appointment and be available 24/7 all the time, while everyone else keeps expecting more. So here's your reframe. You don't need to be available to be valuable. You need boundaries in place. You need systems that work for you and clarity about where your energy goes and where it stops. Hold your boundaries, hold your systems, and hold where you put your energy. So here's a few language swaps and mindset shifts that you can do that can change everything. So, language swaps. Instead of saying, oh, sorry for the delay, you can say, thanks for your patience. And instead of saying, hey, just wanted to check in on this and this and see what the, progress is. Instead, you can say, here's my update. Let me know if you need more. Instead of saying, I'll take care of it tonight after I put the kids down, say, I'll get to this during working hours tomorrow. That one's a hard one because I've even thought and said so many times, I'll get to this after I put the kids down at 7. And then I'm working at 7:30 and send something out and nobody responds because they're not working at 7:30. It could have waited until the next morning. And last language swap is instead of being always on and always available, try setting response windows or office hours, even if it's unofficial. Set those boundaries in your calendar. Set picking up kids or dropping kids off at daycare. Set those boundaries of when you are on and when you're not on. Okay. And here's some mindset shifts. Whether you're thinking about these or writing these down as mantras for the week, These are important mindset shifts. First one, my time is valuable and I don't need to defend it. Number two, leadership doesn't mean being available, it means being intentional. And three, access to me is earned, not assumed. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, here's your micro action for the week. This is what I want you to focus on. Set one boundary around your availability. It could be turning off notifications on Slack after 6 p.m. on your phone or laptop, or it could be delaying replies to Slack or emails until the next morning, or letting non urgent things wait and only responding to very urgent things if you have a job that has very urgent things. And watch what happens. Spoiler alert, the world will keep turning and you'll keep reclaiming you. You'll get your energy back, your no not as much stress. You'll get your time back that you can devote to yourself, to your family, to your kids because you're not trying to multitask and be on at work and on at home. All right. If this episode gave you permission to breathe, share it with the mom who always feels like she needs to be on. Let her know that she can pause, she can rest, and she can choose herself and her family. It is hard being a working mama in corporate America or in any corporate world setting. It is hard to do it all. And so we have to set boundaries to preserve our energy. This is the Working Mom Rebellion, and we don't prove our worth by being always on. We prove it by owning our limits and protecting what matters most. That's it for this episode of the Working Mom Rebellion. If it hit home, please share it with another working mom who needs to know that she's not alone. And if you're ready for real support, for power strategy hours, for digital workbooks, and a truth that doesn't sugarcoat it, click the link in the show notes for more. Until next time, rage, rest, and rise. You don't have to do it all, just what matters.